Hey guys, let's get more news from Dallas Cowboys, but first don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Sizzling Dak Prescott, Cowboys look to continue to build momentum against spiraling Panthers. Dak Prescott is sizzling, and the Dallas Cowboys are winning the games they should win while eyeing a playoff run. The Carolina Panthers are heading toward a sixth straight losing season. The NFC foes are heading in opposite directions and will clash on Sunday in what is expected to feel like a home game for the Cowboys, 6-3, even though it will be played at Charlotte's Bank of America Stadium. Since Week 8, Prescott leads the NFL with 1,082 passing yards and 11 touchdown passes and ranks second with a 129.4 rating. He has recorded at least 300 yards passing and 3 touchdown passes in each of Dallas' last 3 games, one shy of matching a record shared by Peyton Manning, Steve Young and Patrick Mahomes. Prescott is coming off a 404-yard, 4 TD performance against the Giants. They are hot on offense, Panthers coach Frank Reich said. Dak is extremely effective in the pocket and out of the pocket. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb is a big-time playmaker and they are having success running and throwing it. Still, there will always be some doubt about the Cowboys until they're able to beat the league's top teams, including NFC East rival Philadelphia, which currently leads the division. The Cowboys know that, and they're focused on taking care of winnable games against Carolina, Washington, and Seattle before their December 10th rematch with the Eagles at home. I feel like we've had games where we've blown teams out that we should blown out, said Cowboys safety Jaron Kearse. When it comes down us doing what we say we want to do, you know it's going to come down to those big games, those San Fran games, those Philly games, Miami, the Bills, and those type of games. To where we put together a complete game, and that shows who you are as a team. According to Next Gen Stats, Prescott's 136.1 passer rating against man-to-man coverage is the league's best, ahead of Mahomes' 121.0. He's all football. This guy, he loves everything about it. The training, Cowboys coach Mike McCarthy said. When you look at this game, Sundays are really for free. What he does Monday through Saturday is so impressive. Lamb leads the NFL with 617 yards receiving over the last 4 games. He has recorded at least 10 receptions and 150 receiving yards in each of his last 3 games, becoming the first player in NFL history to reach those marks. Lamb can become the first player ever to record at least 150 receiving yards in 4 consecutive games. He can also become the second player with at least 10 catches in 4 consecutive games, joining Hall of Famer Calvin Johnson. In hopes of giving his team a spark, Reich is taking back the offensive play-calling duties. Reich delegated play-calling on October 16 before Carolina's bye week. The Panthers, 1-8, went 1-2 with offensive coordinator Thomas Brown calling plays, but the team scored only 2 offensive touchdowns during that span. Reich called plays for the first 6 games of the season, all Carolina losses. However, the Panthers went from averaging 294.7 yards, 20.7 first downs, and 16.3 points per game in 6 games with Reich calling plays to 237.3 yards, 16.3 first downs, and 11.3 points per game in 3 games with Brown calling the shots. The Giants held pass rushing star Micah Parsons without a tackle for the first time in his 3-year career. He's slipping on the sacks list, dropping to a tie for 10th with 7.5, although Parsons has a sack in each of the past 2 games. Any competitor can get frustrated with that, defensive coordinator Dan Quinn said. There will be games like that, and there has been games like that, and there will be more like that. Mailbag, let Pollard be change of pace back? Tony Pollard excelled when coming in as that change of pace back behind a bulldozer in Ezekiel Elliott. So why not use Rico Dowdle as that heavy hitter and let Pollard come in behind him to do what he does best? Or is it truly just the offensive line's play that hasn't allowed Pollard the gaps to hit? James Davidson / Des Moines, IA. I'm not sure that the personnel in the running back room allows for Tony Pollard to be the change of pace back, although I do see what you're getting at with Rico Dowdle instead being the big load back. I just don't think Dowdle can be as effective in that role similar to what we're seeing with Pollard so far in 2023. Both are great complementary backs, and there is nothing wrong with that. I would keep it as is moving forward and just work to find some consistency in the run game with Pollard, whether that be with increased momentum in the offensive line group or more creativity in the run game. So here's where I am with this: the RB1 will always get the brunt of the ire from fans, and the RB2 will always, eventually, be given all of the roses, but when the players change roles, as will the assignment of ire and roses. Here's what I mean: Ezekiel Elliott versus Tony Pollard, Julius Jones versus Felix Jones, DeMarco Murray versus Joseph Randle, etc., etc. The problem is the expectation that comes with being RB1. Pollard now has to do all of the heavy lifting and dirty work, and it begins to wear on a lead back as the season rolls along. That's why Dowdle looks so much fresher on his runs than does Pollard. The best formula here is to try and get them to a 50-50 split or near it, or, better still, alternate their starts to keep both fresh for the long run, considering their styles aren't much different from one another. If you do that, you'll see more explosiveness from Pollard without sacrificing much, if any, of it from Dowdle. Oh, by the way, yes, the offensive line flux to this point has created some of the issues as well, so hopefully that gets ironed out. Should Falcons sign Panthers' Brian Burns in free agency? The Atlanta Falcons are underperforming through the first 10 games of the season. They currently sit at 4-6 after opening the year 2-0 for the first time since 2017, as the Falcons have lost 6 of their last 8 games despite spending big in free agency over the offseason. This leads to the question of what are the Falcons missing? Quarterback is at the top of fans' minds as the Falcons have entered the bye week, with further controversy brewing following Sunday's 25-23 loss to the Arizona Cardinals. Yet, the edge rusher is likely close behind quarterback on the list of priority needs. Combining the need for a proven pass rusher with the fact that the Falcons are set to have $50.7 million in cap space this offseason, per projections from Over the Cap, the impending contract status of Carolina Panthers edge rusher Brian Burns could be something to watch closely. October 29, 2020, Charlotte, North Carolina, USA, Carolina Panthers defensive end Brian Burns, 53, closes in on Atlanta Falcons running back Brian Hill, 23, during the second half at Bank of America Stadium. Jim Dedman USA Today Sports Jim Dedman USA Today Sports Burns has 5 sacks this season after posting 12.5 in 2022, and his pass rush win rate of 27.3% would rank third in the NFL if he qualified, ESPN writes in a recent article ranking upcoming free agency class. He's just now entering his prime playing years, too. Burns has the high-end edge rushing traits, including the speed, explosive power and lower body flexibility to consistently create pocket disruption. Burns, 25, has yet to sign a long-term extension with the Panthers despite being one of their star players defensively. Since being taken in the first round of the 2019 NFL Draft, the former Florida State Seminole has quickly developed into one of the top young edge rushers in the league, totaling 42 sacks in 70 games since entering the league as a first-round pick. If that's not impressive, maybe he generated 68 total pressures last season, which ranked him 9th best among edge rushers, according to Pro Football Focus, and converting those into 10 sacks is. So far this season, Burns has produced 10 hurries and 6 sacks in 8 games. If Burns makes it to free agency, he could become an ideal target for the Falcons, who with over $50 million projected cap space this coming offseason, could make a deal happen. And you fan, what do you think of the Brian Burns situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.